Thank you all for joining today. We're absolutely excited to be sharing with you insight. I know we've talked about in the past, but when we consider data center services, you know, providing power, network, um, always being on is table stakes. So, just a brief history of vXchnge. Um, our leadership team, they ran and operated switch and data centers for years. And they sold 34 of their sites to Equinix several years ago. It was a really big transaction for Equinix and a big transaction for our leadership team as well. But from that, our investment group approached our leadership team and said, "Hey guys, you did a fantastic job running Switch and Data. Do you guys want to get the band back together?" And so they did. So a little bit more than 6 years ago, vXchnge was born. We have 14 sites across the country with a little bit less than 200 employees nationwide. But through that, our leadership team decided that they wanted to do something unique and really provide a key differentiator for us as a company. So they built from scratch Insight. So what Emily is going to be showing you today is the tool that they built from scratch. So every single thing that you're going to see has been something from a conversation, whether it be a recommendation, customer feedback, or just knowledge from running and those data centers for several years. But this is a culmination of all of those efforts. As we work together, Emily and I are constantly in communication with all of our clients, and we're constantly trying to get feedback from them. What's working? Is there anything they'd like to see in the tool? And we're able to share that directly with our product team. So I won't steal any thunder from Emily. I know she'll show you all the features and functionalities, but that's really how this came to be. So Emily, I'll turn it to you.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And thank you for the introduction. So like Matt said, I don't want to reiterate it, but everything that we do go through today in Insight has been a direct feedback from a customer. So whether that's a current customer or a customer from the past, we are constantly taking feedback. So again, something like this demonstration will probably be asking you if there's anything more we can be updating throughout the platform that could help your day-to-day aches and pains. But when you first log on to Insight, this will be the dashboard page. So before I move on, can everyone see my page? Does everything look good? The size okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Awesome. So this is when you first log into Insight. This will be your dashboard page. Just a quick key things that I like to note on the left-hand side are any sort of announcements or events that are going on within the data center that's attached to you. So you do receive a notification 2 weeks in advance before any sort of maintenance occurs at vXchnge, as well as a reminder email the day of the maintenance occurs as well. So that's really just to, again, stay as transparent with our customers as possible. So if we know you get a lot of emails on a day-to-day basis, so if it ever gets lost in the shuffle, you can quickly log into Insight and kind of check and make sure that there's any sort of maintenance overlapping. And if there is, of course, reach out to your account team and we'll work with you to make sure you're comfortable. If you do utilize our vXdefend product, which is our high performance, highly available bandwidth service that does provide DDoS protection and is leveraged by AT&T and CenturyLink, that will also pop up here on your dashboard page as well. And then, of course, up at the top, you can see all of these different tabs that we'll go ahead and jump in and explore today. So where I like to begin is this user management section. So this user management section is going to give you a bird's eye view into who has access to what in regards to Insight as well as the data center. So this is completely controlled by you and your team. And that is for your protection. Of course, Matt and I can help walk you through things on how to disable a user, which I'll show you here in a minute, as well as adding a new user. But all of this is controlled by you, which again is to protect you and your business, and has been really, really great for compliance purposes as well. So as you can see, this will list out all of your team members. And then if you kind of continue to scroll, these check marks show exactly which individual has access to what. So if there is no check mark, then you can see that they do not have access to Insight or bandwidth usage. So if we were to quickly kind of dive in on a new user, we make it really, really easy for you guys into adding a new user, where you can just quickly add a new user, fill out all of this top information in regards to first and last name, email address. And then if you scroll down to this user permission, this is where you will give those authorizations to your team members. So if you want them to have remote hands assistance, temporary data center access, insight access. As you can see, once you click insight access, a whole other drop down will pop up where you're able to get, or you continue to get more granular within the platform of what they can and can't see. So another thing we like to note is this platform was created for all aspects of the business. So it's not just for the IT department. We also have customers who have their billing contacts in here so they can pay invoices through Insight to make it really, really easy for you guys. So to kind of modify that, if you do have a billing contact you might only want them to see billing and transactions as well as order transactions, you can see here if it's been hidden, if they can only view that specific section, or if they can modify it. So we do have a lot of customers with those billing contacts who will click modify and order transactions. And once they log in Insight, they're only going to be able to see that specific tab. They won't be able to see any sort of the shipping tickets or support tickets, asset compliance. So it is controlled by you. We do have team members who, you only want to view if the invoice has been paid or hasn't been paid, but you don't want them to have authorization in paying that. You can do that as well with the view only. So again, it's really granular as well as customizable to how you kind of want that specific team member to have that access. Again, clicking these check marks will give them the ability to see the bandwidth usage, compliance reports, data center access, Insight access log, power usage, data center floor plan. So again, if you wanted to make changes in the past or in the future as well, it's again just a quick, easy click of the button to if roles do change throughout the time at your company. So another thing I like to mention too as well is this user role. So this is the custom authorization and access. So this individual has this is all that they can see, but they don't have the ability to give or take away any sort of Insight or data center access. So if you wanted to have that, we usually recommend a master admin. To every account will have a master admin, but we recommend about 2 to 3 master admins in each account that has the ability to give and take away someone's authorization. So maybe a team member has left the company, this master admin can quickly go into Insight or the mobile app and quickly delete them from the platform as well. So that's just one thing I like to mention too in regards to the master admin role. And we recommend 2 to 3 just because sometimes we've had people who are on PTO and haven't been able to be able to, log on or have access to a phone or email or, a platform. So we always like to make sure that there's always backup as well. So that is the user management section when you are adding a new person. And as easy it is to add a new individual, it is just as easy to take away. So if you were to click, if I were to have left the company and they wanted to remove my access, you can click this ID and move straight to the right hand side, and you can see disable user on the right hand side, and I'll automatically, my permissions in regards to Insight or data center access will be completely eliminated, and it's instantaneous. And again, that is to eliminate any sort of human error, so you wouldn't have to reach out to Matt and I and say, hey, so and so is no longer with the company, and then we wouldn't have to reach out to our operations team and have them removed. It's something you do, so you can do it really, really quickly. We do ask for a heads up as well if someone is, just so we can, triple check and verify and make sure we don't reach out to them. So that's another thing we do ask our customers if you do remove anyone from the platform, just to give us a heads up as well so we can manage that too. But Matt, is there anything that you wanted to mention on this side?
No, I think the most important things you touched on, we want to be an extension of your business. So these user management roles really enable you to create the identities and profiles of your employees, giving them access to what they need, whether it be submitting a ticket or creating remote hands. So no, I think you touched on all the points.
Awesome. Perfect. And one thing I also wanted to mention too is if you click down, this will show you the user access. So it gives you everything in regards to who has what access, but you can also look at user history. So we've had customers reach out to us, or we've had customers whose auditors have reached out to them and said, hey, can you prove to me that Matt Donnelly was completely removed from having data center access and insight access. So you can go into this user history and it'll actually show you the name as well as who modified that specific person's account and when. And a lot of people have been able to just export this data on this right-hand side and send it to their auditors as proof that they no longer have data center access. So that's been really, really a big kind of differentiator and game changer as well. So we do track that here in the platform.
Nobody has asked for that, by the way. I'm still here. Everything is fine.
Yes, yes. No, Matt is still here. Matt is good. But yeah, so that's the user management section. Like Matt said, we want to make this as easy as possible for you guys. And again, for your security, that's why you manage it. So kind of just moving straight along to the data center. Let's go ahead and jump to my favorite tab. So this is the data center floor plan. And so we're in the demo. So we're actually looking at the Philadelphia data center currently. So this is giving us a bird's eye view to what the Philadelphia data center actually looks like. And as you can see, all of these cabinets are in the data center, but the only ones that are highlighted are going to be the ones associated to your account. So associated to your infrastructure, you won't know any sort of neighbors or anything like that for security purposes. And you're probably wondering what those colors mean. And if you scroll up to the top, you can see right here. So green means that you are under 60% utilization, power utilization. The yellow is you are in between 60 and 80% power utilization, as well as if you hit that amber color and you're over that 80% power utilization, that's when you'd probably be hearing from Matt and I, you'd be hearing from the site. We would say, hey, what's going on here? You're not only putting yourself at risk, but you're also putting your neighbors at risk. And we definitely should look at some sort of power capacity planning. So this has been really helpful for customers just to see a bird's eye view into if they may need to add power to a cabinet, or maybe they add a whole additional cabinet as well. So this is, again, just a really quick way to check in on your infrastructure. And if you were to hover over one of the cabinets as well, so let's hover over this cab BK56. As you can see, it does continue to get more granular. And some of our customers, and we're trying to get most of them now, have what's called IT asset management. So they're able to track their assets through this platform as well. So this, as you can see, this looks a little scary, but it's all good. But this will actually show you what's sitting in each cabinet or in this specific cabinet right now. And it'll show you all of your assets. I think the biggest thing, biggest game changer for customers is you can actually click one of these specific assets and you can create a support ticket. Boom. Create support ticket, and it'll automatically auto-populate not only the cabinet name, but the position, the asset name, and this is supposed to eliminate any sort of human error as well. So this is a quick, easy way for a customer to get in a support ticket. Maybe the Cisco server needed to be rebooted, and you can quickly do it, attach a new file, add any other additional comments, and send it straight to our team for assistance as well, which has been, like I said, a huge time saver for our customers, which is why we do encourage IT asset management. We found that a lot of our customers were tracking their assets via Excel sheets, which are fine, but unfortunately, they were not as up to date as they should have been. We actually had, Matt and I, in one case, had a customer where unfortunately, one of their employees ended up leaving and they took all of that information as well. So they had no idea what was sitting in their cabinets. So we ended up going in, doing a visual audit for them in regards to this, which is a quick remote hands charge, being able to show you a visual view of what's sitting in the cabinets. And then they were able to be set up and felt a lot more comfortable being able to track their assets from this platform, as well as it's not deleted either. So if a team member were to leave, they can't take this data as well. So that's another thing I like to mention here. But as you can see, the front of the cabinet, you're able to see the back of the cabinet. And then if you scroll to the right as well, you can add assets. So again, this is another thing customers do. If you're changing things around in your cabinet, you can delete an asset, you can add an asset. It's really supposed to be as easy as possible for you guys to get the information you need. And again, a bird's eye view. And you're probably wondering what all these colors mean. So we do have customers, usually they're kind of in the financial sector, who utilize a product called vXguardian, which is our RFID tagging product, which each asset will have an RFID tag and it'll scan through the cabinet every 5 seconds. And so if they do have that, you can see the green means that it's verified, it's been there. Red, it'll say missing from last scan. So maybe maybe your team's moving things around and it'll catch that for you. And then it'll also let you know if it's not only been removed from the cabinet, but if it's been removed from the data center as a whole as well. So if you need that extra layer of security, we do have that product available for you guys. And like I said, most of it is for customers who need it for audit purposes and really just for peace of mind that their assets are in the data center where they're supposed to be too. So that is the asset page from the cabinet level view. If we were to go back, we can also look at the power usage, and again, another way for you to put in a support ticket. So as you'll probably see throughout the platform, it'll pop out at you to put in a support ticket. That's really meant, again, to be just an easy way for you to do that if needed. If you were, moving around in the platform and decided you really wanted to put in a support ticket. But I also kind of wanted to mention here, if you go back to data center, you're able to view all your cabinets, all of the cross connects associated with your infrastructure, all the power circuits, and then this asset compliance will also give you all of that information in Excel export as well if you need to. So that is something that customers are like, okay, that's great. I would love to manage it through Insight, but I also want to have a hard copy as well. So we do give customers that ability from here, and then you can just go ahead and export this data. Another thing that I just wanted to mention very quickly too, so this actually looks probably very similar to the user management section, and it's meant to be that way, so it's all very easy. But you can add throughout the whole platform, you can actually add and remove columns. So maybe you do want this type of information, but you don't really need to know, let's see, the manufacturer. That's not part of, something you need in your Excel sheet. So you can actually pull that and remove it, and it doesn't completely go away. But unless you actually want it back, which then you can move it back as well. So that's been really helpful for customers, just being able to export the data that's important to you and that's important to your business at the time, but then also giving you all of the other, tabs to look into too. So again, moving kind of right along, as you can see, very similar. I like to mention this. So we're looking at all the cabinets associated to your infrastructure. Some customers also go in and will label their cabinet names. So as you can see, Emily's cabinet is right here, but a lot of customers will say, this is my network cab. And that's, again, just easy for them to kind of manage and be able to know exactly what's going on. Being able to view your cross connects, and there's no cross connects in this demo. Power circuits as well. Being able to show you your KW. And then moving right along back down to the data center floor plan, I did want to mention, so as we can see, there is a cabinet that's in between that 60 and 80% power utilization. So if we wanted to look at this cabinet a little further, we can go straight to the power usage, and we can look at Matt's cab. And we can bring it down even to the circuit view as well. And Matt, feel free to stop me if you feel like I'm forgetting anything.
No, you're doing great.
Awesome. So we'll look at circuit A. And this graph is updated about every 5 minutes. And as you can see, there's multiple ways that you can kind of look at from the date wise. So we do give you a 3 month, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day. If we're looking within the last week, you can do it from this standpoint. You can also manually, if there's specific days you wanted to look at in regards to power, you can do it from there. But then another thing that customers can also do is you could actually drag a specific section as well within the power graph. So that's been something, again, this is kind of a boring power graph, I guess, to look at, but you are able to kind of drag and pinpoint the date and the time and just what's been going on. It'll show you the total usage. So your minimum KW as well as the average KW, and then the usable amount as well is associated here.
You
A
know, what's
lot of our,
interesting. Oh,
yep,
sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say,
no.
I just had a conversation this morning with a prospective new client, and they were sharing with me that in their existing data center, they don't have any sort of visibility into their power. So, as Emily has alluded to multiple times with all the data points, we really want to be as transparent as possible with all that's happening within in the data center. We know that you're trusting in us to be your partner when it comes to managing your assets. So with that, we want to provide all the reporting that you would expect to see within your own facility. So this is an example with the power. Again, not much is changing with it, which is perfectly fine. Status quo is not a bad thing, but we just want to make sure that you have full visibility to see what's happening every single day with your power and bandwidth and everything else, but specifically power for this.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Another thing that customers really use this for is power notifications. So maybe there is a circuit that you wanted to kind of keep an eye on, or maybe you just want to be notified if one, if you go over that 80% threshold. So what you can do is you can create a new notification, and you can either select a specific power circuit that you wanted to monitor, maybe in the network cabinet. But a lot of our customers, I think, just click this any power circuit. So they want to be notified if any power circuit goes over, so how it's calculated is if it exceeds a certain threshold. So I think a lot of customers will put 95% of the usable capacity, and the usable capacity is at 80% of the rated capacity. So you're not going to totally hit that 80% yet, but you're going to be right at that time where, oh, Matt and Emily might be reaching out to me right now. So it gives you a little bit of a heads up. And you do receive these notifications every 24-hour period. So since power fluctuates so much, we didn't want you, getting 10 emails a day in regards to this if everything ended up being okay. So we do send you one notification at the end of each day if it does go over that 90% of the usable capacity. So that's been really, really helpful for customers. Again, it'll send you that email. You don't have to log into Insight. It'll just send your email, what's ever associated, or maybe you want to send it to a whole team and not just one individual. You can do that from here as well by customizing this email address. And then you can also look at kind of just all the past notification history as well. Top right. And you can kind of look at when that notification was sent as well and dig in. So again, kind of piggybacking on what Matt said, just giving you all of the transparency that we possibly can from your seat is super important to us. A lot of customers also utilize this power reports, which to kind of it's really more just to kind of give them a bird's eye view of how much power they're utilizing, within like a 30-day point. So if you wanted to create a new report, you could create it from the last month, which was, May 1st to May 31st, or maybe you want to look from the 5th to the 5th. So you can customize that, but I'll show you what it looks like a little bit as well. So if you look at this report and click it, it's not letting me click it for some reason. But in essence, it will download to your Excel sheet, and you'll be able to view the report and see exactly, here we go. Each cabinet, this is from the Insight way, and be able to show you the sum of that average usable, which has been really, really helpful to customers in regards to power capacity planning too, and see if you have extra room in that cabinet, or maybe you need to add power. So again, that is something that customers, it will automatically email to you. Again, it's that one-time thing, and you can always log back into Insight and view that report as well that you've sent yourself. So that's the power usage. I think from right here, I'd like to, again, you don't have to go through the data center floor plan to view this. You can go straight to reports and click power usage, and you will get to this page. But the next section I wanted to show you, again, if you utilize our vXdefend product, is this bandwidth usage. And being able to look at your bandwidth graph, which looks very similar in a way to the power. Being able to kind of customize the time period, as well as dragging on specific spikes for customers, being able to see the upload and the download. Maybe you only want to look at your upload, so you can click down here at the download off in the 95th percentile. So it'll only show you all the upload. Or maybe you only want to view the download as well. So again, giving you different ways to kind of view this data as well as manage it. You are able to set up notifications too from here. So again, very like for like from the power standpoint. And it'll also show you kind of down at the bottom, just as a reminder, what your contract is. So contracted, you have a commit rate of 15 meg with a 100 meg peak rate. So that'll also give you that reminder here. And one thing I forgot to mention too in the power usage, but you are also able to download these graphs, and we give you different ways to download them. So maybe you want to download it in a JPEG or a PNG, or just print the chart. So we do give you the ability to be able to have that data printed as well, in case you need to send it to a meeting or whatnot.
Yeah, I would say with bandwidth, it's been really important as of recent, with COVID-19. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure with your business as well. A lot of our existing clients are talking to us about the need for increased bandwidth due to the work from home situation. So Emily and I have been monitoring these graphs and ensuring that, with the commit rate and the peak rate, the burstable, that our clients are not experiencing overages, because as soon as that mandate kind of hit where everybody had to work from home, we saw a very large increase in network traffic. So with that said, we're monitoring constantly, and I know, with the notifications tab that Emily pointed out, you'll receive those updates and those reports. But we're here to make sure that we're looking at Insight constantly as well to ensure that you're not experiencing any overages with that. So just want to chime in.
Yes, no,
Yes.
that's a great point. And I do kind of want to reiterate that. We do give you all of the tools to manage this on your own. So you have it if you need it, but we are also looking at it from our perspective. This is something that I know from a CSM's perspective that we look at every single day. And, if there's something that looks odd to us, we don't hesitate to reach out to you. So that's definitely a great point, Matt, to kind of reiterate, is that you have multiple eyes on this type of data. And kind of moving right along in regards to tickets, this is pretty straightforward when we speak with customers on, submitting a ticket and being able to know where that is. Again, you go to tickets, and if you scroll down, you can see all of the tickets. You can filter by status, so we can filter by all open tickets, as well as maybe ones in progress currently, and then the ones that are on hold. Oh, not escalated, on hold. So as you can see, there's no tickets there. But if we were to look at any of the open tickets, or maybe you just want to look at all of them, we can do that as well. Another thing in regards to kind of COVID-19 and not being able to go into the data centers, another thing that Matt and I have been watching are these remote hands hours. So each ticket, if we're there 24/7, our site is there 24/7, 365 days. So we're always there to help you. We've had a lot of customers who maybe would come into the data center and perform some work for a couple hours and then be able to leave. But unfortunately, through COVID, they have been working from home, so they're unable to do that now. Our team is happy to do that. But with these remote hands charges, it'll kind of show you how many hours maybe a technician has been working on that, and you can just kind of see if that's going to give you any sort of change in your invoice as well, which has been really helpful as a heads up. So as you can see, no tickets have had any sort of remote hands hours. At the bottom is a quick way to view that. And then you can also filter to, again, with any of your open tickets, and see if those remote hands hours have changed as well. So it's another just little tip and trick when you're utilizing Insight to check on that. In this right-hand corner, again, very similar to user management. If you wanted to create a new ticket, you can create a new ticket here, any sort of standard support, service trouble, or site access. One thing I like to note with customers is these two are pretty self-explanatory in regards to a new ticket and a new shipment. The scheduled tickets, there's been some confusion with customers. A scheduled ticket really isn't something that's, Matt is coming into the data center on Friday. So yes, it's kind of technically scheduled, but a scheduled ticket from our perspective is something that our team will do on a weekly basis or a monthly basis for your team. For example, we have customers where we help them with their tape management. So every Tuesday and Thursday, they have a scheduled ticket set with our team where we help them with their tape management. So does that make sense? Just in regards to kind of scheduled tickets. And then if you have someone coming into the data center, it would just be under new ticket, and you would just want to click this site access. And as you can see, when you click site access, you can give them this start time, the end time, the authorized names. We do like to note that in order to be, I guess, admitted into our data center, you do have to have a government photo ID present. We've had problems in the past where customers may have left their wallet in their car and said, "Hey, this is my, my company badge. Will this work?" Fortunately, it won't work. So our team is very strict in that. So we do make sure that you remind any sort of vendor or any team member to have a government photo ID present when coming into the vXchnge data center, or you will not be allowed into our facility. And just moving quickly right along, I think this is pretty straightforward in regards to tickets. Again, transactions. This is also very, very straightforward in regards to filtering by status. You can look at any sort of open invoices. So if we were to just look at invoices, for some odd reason, the demo is not showing any invoices right now. See if we clear filters. But you can check on your invoices and it'll show you if you have any open invoices and what the status is. Usually does show it, so I'm unsure why it's not showing right now. But you can also view any sort of sales orders that are pending and the service orders. And then it'll show you pending approval, pending fulfillment, pending billing. If you have paid your invoice, it'll show billed. And then, of course, if any sort of service order has been closed, it'll show you if it's been closed. But that's a really good way for our billing contacts to kind of stay on top of it and ensure that they don't get put on credit hold for missing a payment or whatnot. And then, of course, you can see right here, this Pay Invoices tab will take you to pay your invoice. So this is, again, a very straightforward thing. Couple last things that I want to mention. I know it's a lot of information, and I'm sure when you're digging into it, you'll have questions. So feel free to reach out to Matt and I or your account rep if you do have any questions. But another game changer for customers has been this compliance reports tab. We have found that it's been a pain in the booty trying to get these compliance reports from our competitors. And so we wanted to give you a really, really easy way to access all of these compliance reports. And if you click on any of these, it'll automatically download to your computer. It'll watermark your company name, and you can go ahead and just send it on your way. You don't have to reach out to Matt. You don't have to reach out to myself. We don't have to reach out internally to get the report. And then 2 days later, you're finally getting your SOC 2. It's something you can quickly log on to Insight, download, send straight to your auditor if needed, or whomever your boss, and be able to kind of, again, save you that time and having to have all those middlemen doing it for you. You can also see the data center access log, who's been coming in and out of the data center. Again, this is all very straightforward, but I want to kind of mention it. It'll show you kind of the demo. It'll also show you Insight access log, so who's been doing what in Insight. You can click on that as well in case you need to pull those reports. And then, of course, if you need to contact your rep, you can quickly contact your rep from here, contact support. This other resource tab I also like to mention, again, it's a lot of information from a demo perspective to try to cram in an hour, but you can look at this Insight reference guide that's created for you guys, and you can look at each, like how to reset your password. It'll give you a step-by-step view on how to do that. If it's 2 a.m. and you feel like you need to reset your password, there you go. Or, the tickets tab, it'll also show you videos as well, how to use the platform. Again, in case you just want to do it on your own. And we do have customers who like reaching out to us and asking those questions, but also like to learn themselves. So we give you that ability in the resource tab. And then also in the Insight Mobile, which I'll be getting to here in a second, in your customer handbook, and then any sort of API documentation if you have it integrated with us as well as here. And then just as a quick, since we just talked about it, change your password, you can quickly change it from this help section as well. So I think that's the web Insight version. Matt, do you have anything else you want to add before I move on to the quick demo of the app?
Yeah, no, one thing I would just want to say, so I know, Emily, when you were mentioning the bringing in of the photo ID,
Yes.
Emily, I know you you're not being mean. You're just being sincere in the fact that it's for protection for all of our
Right.
clients that we have the photo ID. And the reason we actually had a CISO try to access our St. Louis site, and he did not have his photo ID, and he also actually was removed from the list. But the site team knew him, so he was testing us to make sure that we were adhering to the guidelines. So, I think full circle with that, the Insight platform really provides every single employee within an organization full access to what's going on in the data center. But in order to see that information, they have to have access granted. So, we went through. Emily, thank you for going through all of that. That was really fantastic information. Everything that you went
Mhm.
through is great, and there's the chain of command in terms of who has access to what, and it's the similar situation with accessing the data center. So just want to talk about that briefly because it's really important and we hold that very close to us when it comes to security, compliance, and what have you, that we're adhering to those guidelines as much as possible.
Yes, thank you, Matt. Yeah, I definitely didn't want to sound mean whatsoever. It's really for your protection.
You're not mean.
Really for your
You're not mean.
protection. Yep. Okay, good. I'm so glad that it didn't come off that way, but I'm
No,
glad you clarified as well.
yeah.
So to kind of dive into as well into the app. This app is free, so we do have it for an iPhone and Android, and so you can download this today for free. Um, and we recommend having our customers download it, not only because it's free, but it just gives you an extra layer in case you can't be by your computer. To be able to, I think we had an instance once, and I don't want to take your thunder away because you tell the story a lot better, Matt. But we had a customer who forgot to give their vendor data center access, and they were at their son's baseball game, and they didn't have their computer with them, but they did have the app, and they were able to quickly log into the app and give them data center access, and then the vendor was able to be on his merry way. So it's really just a quick way to check on your infrastructure, put in a support ticket if needed, grant someone data center access, as well as take away data center access as well. So if you were to look at the user access, you can again see a bird's eye view into who has data center access. And a quick way to view it is if this shield is green, then they do have data center access. And then I'll show you if we take away Jordan Adams' ability. No offense, Jordan. You can quickly swipe it and save it. And Jordan Adams no longer has data center access. So it's, again, just as easy as it would be on the website, but you can do it from the app as well. It's saving my data. And now you can see that his shield has now turned red. So it's a quick way to kind of see who has data center access and who doesn't. And then if you were to go in here and you wanted to put in a support ticket, you're able to do that from your app as well. Or maybe you want to check in on a support ticket and make it very, very easy for you. If you want to view your cabinets, again, you'll see the same color coding that we saw in the data center floor plan. The green under 60% thresh or power utilization, yellow in between that 60 and 80% power utilization. And of course, if you see an amber, that's probably, again, when you'd be hearing from us, but you can also manage it from your perspective as well. If you want to check on your assets, it'll show you an asset from here. You can also create a support ticket. So again, it gives you that same feature as the website does. It'll automatically auto-populate that for you. Any sort of power circuits, if you wanted to dive into that deeper. Bandwidth services, again, if you have vXdefend with us. And then, of course, your cross connects. If you need to contact vXchnge, we also make it very easy. You can send an email or you can call support straight from your app. So this is all really supposed to be that we're constantly, I think this has only been about a year old. So we are definitely making updates to the mobile app. And I think we're on 8.2 right now, but 8.3 launches within the next couple months from according to our product team. So this is, again, constantly being added. So if any feedback that our customers have in regards to using the app, we definitely are want to hear it, and we want to hopefully get it inputted into the next version as well. But that's Insight. That's the Insight app in a nutshell. And I hope that you guys learned something today. Matt, any closing words from you?
No. Thank you very much. I think that was great.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.